Excellent. Okay. All right, so let me start. Okay, Janet, let's get rolling. You first.
Do you think?
What kind of thing is this? Did you read it? No, just the question. You didn't read it? Okay. Maybe we're coming back to you later. So you better start reading. What?
Thank you.
Let's go. It's trial and error. So what you want to tell me?
But David,
You want to write? You want to write? Come.
no.
What happened was an eye for is what you said is this time? Let's go. What you wrote for homework? Come on.
Yes, now say it.
That's why.
I need to see your thought process.
I guess to make that process.
No, write your thought process. If you only need a score, a little square, let me see your little square.
I do it like that, Miss Martha.
I want to see what you did. Here. Give me your thought process on the board. I want to see the thought process. Go ahead. Who, hers? Just so you know. Same one, the first one. Do the same one. I need to get another one, and I have more on there.
I started with two, he's doing one. Okay.
And you could get a buddy if you need one.
Okay. Come go in, be my buddy. Bruce? And you, buddy.
I have some questions. And I have some questions.
First of all, let's look way what then Charlie doing whatever.
That was number two. I was doing number two. Number two. Hey,
See, this is so simple.
What the question? Get the question. I ain't been there.
Take a teacher up there. You go ahead, guy.
What happened here?
He's assistant.
Oh, you're assisting now. Okay, go ahead then.
So Bruce, what are you doing, Bruce?
That's right before.
This?
Making points.
Does the jobs? No? Can you see that picture?
I mean, right now? What about them? And I mean, you use the same thought process. That's what I want to see. You see, she used a different thought process. What you up? You did? Okay, that's fine. I just wanted to see how you work.
Okay, that's my thought process. Do you agree, my?
We gonna sit down fast now. What you put?
Case one, I just put Frank, his contract is
Verbal
not
contract between
and the
the.
ad with the possible sale of the contract.
Give me the contract.
What you put? You didn't do any? Okay, so what they put here, verbal contract 750 between David and Eric. Reject offer because it was not agreed to by both parties. Okay. You followed the process here. In a way. Whenever you're dealing with a scenario question, whether it's in banking law or in contract law, you follow sentence by sentence.
You can understand that?
Okay. So the first sentence says what?
David advertised the car for sale in Mondays in the paper for $2,500 for quick sale, that's not secure.
So what's the issue there? He has Monday offer.
That was a treat.
There you go. The question is, each sentence is an issue. Okay? That's why I say your thought process is in the right place. But you have to ask yourself this question.
So when we answer this, we'll be answering it in point form like that?
No, this is a question. Now you had answered it in an essay. Or like a short answer.
Okay, all right.
But you want us to state if it's an invitation or treat or an offer when we answering the question?
At the beginning, you have to till you learn how to do it without it. When you can form the question in your head and just answer it. And it takes practice. Okay, so which one is it? And how you come to that conclusion? There you go.
And the example.
Yes. There you go. All right.
I look at the example.
You have to go to
from
case
that
law.
one with the knife. That example.
Yes.
Yeah.
You need to go to case law. You can't tell me, you can't, like how he just say, like how he's saying here, it's an offer. He has to tell me how he arrived at it's an offer. And for him to come to this conclusion, he needs case law. So, what is this? You're saying it's an invitation to treat. So what's the case?
Pharmaceutical.
Or pharmaceutical versus boots. Okay?
So we gotta learn these by heart then.
Yes.
What? Better pharmaceutical one. Answer the one. Where's that one? I'm sorry.
All right, I'm here.
Oh, okay.
Basically saying we have to learn these case law
Yep.
and then
For-
apply it to
The different
answer
case.
our questions.
You, for contract law, I allow you to take your sheet in if it's not marked. Put it there early enough for them to make sure there's no writing on it. Everybody can't come to the exam 6 o'clock,
So we can carry that.
so you'll be able to
So
take
just
your
don't
sheet
write
in.
on these.
Yeah, don't write on it. So when you come in, they can check it. Now, when you do the final exam, there's no contract questions on the final exam. So all the biking law cases you will learn from the next chapter, going to the end, must be up here.
So only midterm will be.
Yeah.
You have extra copies.
I didn't get some of it.
So that one only has a couple on it. That one there has more.
This is for me.
Yeah. But if you need a couple of those, you could always mention. Yeah,
This is my first one, right?
okay.
How often was I this?
Yeah, but what you're doing is you just rewriting the question. Don't rewrite the question. You have to ask yourself legal questions. Okay? Alright. Because you spend all your time in exam rewriting all of that and time is going. So here you could use Fisher versus Bell or pharmaceutical versus Boot. This line here means you tell me what's the facts of the case, and then you tell me what they decided. That's why you have to read it. Don't wait till you come an exam to start to read it, because it's too late then. Mm-hmm. Was an invitation to trade? You have to read it. So we finished the first sentence, right? Okay, so when you answer these type of questions that are based on scenario, you do not start at the very beginning and say there is no contract, or there is a contract. Because if you come down here, and based upon what you write here for your explanation is the opposite of what you wrote up here, I can mark the whole thing wrong. Because it means you didn't understand. You see what I'm saying? You can't tell me at the very beginning there was no contract. And then when you give me all of your explanation, you're telling me there is a contract. You're confused. So yes, it's wrong, because you don't know which one it is. Versus, you go through all of this, and then you say, there is no contract. But all in here you built what was correct. You get your points from this. Not the yes or no. Huh? No, you cannot drop it.
Say multiple choice. Well, I say we can have multiple choices.
No.
Draw.
Life is not about multiple choice. It's too easy.
It's not easy because it could be confusing. Question.
I could give you multiple choice.
No, please
No,
don't.
that's okay, I'll go with whatever you decide because.
You'll be
not
thoroughly
gonna be
appreciated.
scary, so-
Vote for whatever you want. Just be careful what you wish for.
Yeah.
She knows me well. Okay, next sentence. So Eric came to see the car on Tuesday and said he would give David $17.50 for the car. He told him he'd let him know by Friday. What was that? What you put up there? I see what he put there. What you say?
Where it was decided that the display,
Why don't come sit here so you can see?
no, I just don't understand the question.
What?
No. It was an invitation to treat or offer.
Right. The very first sentence is an invitation to
After
treat.
the line underneath there, where it was decided that the display.
Was an invitation
Well, I see that there.
You have to read the case.
She just didn't write it.
You getting it?
She just didn't write it on
But
the board.
exactly, whichever one you choose,
After display, what you say it is?
you have to read the case.
All right, thanks.
No, I looking for, see?
I would say this
See,
one.
this is Bishop versus Bell right here.
I don't know if it's a consideration or something that you can share.
Yeah, that's for you to finish. Okay, all right. Okay, what's the second one?
Is Eric making offer?
Okay, would it be, is there such thing as a verbal offer or just an
It's a
offer?
consideration.
Or would it be consideration?
What is consideration? No.
A consideration is, would it be a consideration on David's part though? No? It wouldn't be consideration.
What's consideration?
Like if you, when it's, how to say it, when you're thinking about making a decision on something, or if something is offered to you and you have to think if you wanna go along with it or not,
Mm-hmm.
something along that line. So I was saying, wouldn't it be
Eric came to see the
consideration
car on
for
Tuesday and
David?
said that he would give David $17.50 for the car. He told David he would let him know by Friday. What is he saying?
Making
David
offer.
made
He made an offer. He's making an offer.
Yeah, and he is asking David.
No, Eric
No.
is
Eric
making an
making
offer to
offer.
David.
That's what I said, Eric made the offer and he's asking David to let him know by Friday. That's what I said. Eric is making the offer.
Yeah, Eric. So is Eric making an offer?
Yes, he is.
So that's when you say he's making a verbal offer. Yeah, you said verbal.
No, but I was asking who's like, if
Oh.
that's a thing, if that's something to say.
So what's the next question?
Did
Did David
David
accept
accept?
the
Was
offer?
the offer accepted? Didn't I give you all 3 sheets of paper with some lines? If you follow those sheets, then you follow the process for a contract.
What line?
There you go. Offer and acceptance.
I mean, with the chart.
Yeah, the chart. Well, I can't spill it all out easy.
So in this case, I just know.
You can't, what I just tell you,
Well,
do not jump up and say yes or no.
The offer
was
wasn't,
acceptance, right?
the offer
I
wasn't.
read it.
But let me see.
Mm-hmm. You didn't get the chart?
Oh, this is kind of.
Okay, so was it accepted?
No, it was only
No.
consideration.
You can't say no.
Now, I'm confused.
You cannot answer this and say no and then continue with something
Could we
else.
say under consideration?
No.
What?
What
Would it be the part where they may actually be a request, not a lie.
So can I answer and say, there is no agreement?
What about conditional acceptance? I didn't mention that. I just read that.
Well, was the offer accepted by David?
I don't know what to answer and say. Did you You said
No,
you say
I
no.
think-
Would it be
Would it
invitation
be-
to treat? Again, no, that's.
No.
Let's see, moved on to the next person, so. or
What happened to the paragraph after that?
One,
I
yeah.
never reached there then.
No.
What did he do in the last paragraph?
He telephoned and told him that he didn't.
No, before that. On Thursday,
On
Oh,
Thursday,
it was canceled, or what were
on
we?
Thursday, David.
No, he posted a letter, so we did accept it then.
To sell the car for
$17.50.
Okay, so we did. I thought you was meaning in that particular sentence, if he accepted. Okay, you mean on the whole, in the whole scenario?
yeah, you have to see.
Okay.
Okay, so the offer was
So he
accepted.
did accept it. But,
How did he accept it?
by letter.
Okay. Was that agreed?
It wasn't
It wasn't a
agreed.
good
No,
thing.
it was verbal, right?
It was,
Finalized.
He didn't say anything about
Right.
sending by letter.
right.
Okay? So that's the first question you can ask yourself. Sub question. In your mind. It's just like if you and I have a verbal conversation and then you turn around and you send your acceptance by fax. Is that what we agreed? I would not be looking for a fax
Unless you were advised.
unless you advise.
Okay, so that,
Okay.
because he used that method of communication doesn't mean.
So he went by post, right? So he took it upon himself and he went by post. So if you go by post, you have to know what are the rules for sending communication by post.
And the exceptions.
Please, accepted by post.
No, I didn't say that.
So,
What's the rule?
He decided he will send his communication by post. That wasn't agreed upon. So now you have to go to what are the rules when you send communication by post. Let me see who read their handouts.
These exceptions.
The rules are in the cases. Yes, you have to read them.
That's my Adams.
Yes, I heard it. There you go.
What you say, what is the rule? You didn't ask which case?
She already give it to me.
Yeah, I know. I was already looking at the case and it was the rule.
You have to read it.
In the case of, they said that it was no time limit imposed.
Sasha, what handles y'all looking at? There's something I
The
ain't
one
get.
she gave us last time.
Contract, please.
Yeah.
Right there.
No, it's the contract cases to the top.
That one, or where's the one online?
Like this.
No, that's the small one, and then
I ain't got no one.
online you have the big one.
The line
This
has
is
a
the
small
small,
one.
this is
Sasha.
smaller right here, then you have this one here.
Sasha, I didn't get the small
In the
one.
case,
What's the extra copy?
That's Adam.
When you send me email.
You have more than one. You saw it on the other one too, right? That's what it is?
Yeah, this would be me.
And everybody has that.
so we, so in this answer, we say the offer has to be, the offer can only be accepted by post if expressed.
If that is what's agreed between the parties.
Okay,
So it's just as if he was selling you, you were selling him that bag.
yeah.
And you asked, he said, I want to buy that bag for my wife or my girlfriend. And you say, I want to sell it to you for $50. He walks away. Then he sends you a letter in the post.
Yeah,
You see what I'm saying? It wasn't agreed.
Order.
okay, so.
That's the same like when you go to a bank. You have to agree what's the mode. When the person leaves, they'll say, you can communicate to me by sending it via my email. That mode has already been established. So if you in turn now decide that you send it by post, they're not expecting it by post. So when they don't get it in the time frame, that's when they come in to raise hell. And if you turn around and say, okay, based on that type of letter, the only way we can send is by registered post, you should have said that when they were there. You see what I'm saying? Because we've already established this is the mode of communication with me. You change it to something else by yourself, what we call in contract law unilaterally. Bye. She just like her teacher. Bye. He came in here too.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, that's her teacher.
So we'd say, in the case of Adam versus
Mhm.
Zell,
Because it says so the rule.
the exception,
Who's saying Jesus?
you know what he said?
I heard it.
That's a good name to have.
Mm-hmm. So when you what?
In the case of Adam versus Zell,
Uh-huh.
it says that to accept
Mm-hmm.
an offer by post, it has to be agreed upon by.
But that's
both
what it
parties.
says. That's the rule. All right. So when we look at the scenario, it was what? A verbal contract, and it wasn't agreed. So that's what you put in this instance. That's your answer would be here. This was a verbal contract, and the mode of communication did not include sending it by mail. You see how, as you go through each one step by step, you come into a conclusion? You can't just jump up and say yes or no. You have to take each one step by step, sentence by sentence.
Okay, we got that.
We got that? I see you looking. You have that? So you put here, she said what the rule was, right? So you'd say, in this instance, this was a verbal agreement, and the postal rule does not apply. All right? I think we can understand this
I could.
Okay. Would you need more paper?
Yes, I do love people, please.
No. Because I see everybody squinching things on a little piece of paper. Bruce, what's your problem?
I don't have a problem.
You don't? What you could do next?
Read on.
Read on then, what's next? Hmm?
Okay, on Wednesday, Frank examined the car.
Mm-hmm.
After returning home, he posted a letter to David in which he said they agreed to buy the car for $2,500.
So what you conclude here?
Huh?
What you concluded here? Because you're going to somebody else.
So you want us to bring
So
it
the
on?
offer
Yeah.
was not accepted.
This is just as if, put yourself in the stance of the person advertising. You have two different people coming. So you have to decide who you have
So that offer was not accepted.
an agreement with.
Based on
So
the
even though that one person rejected before you.
Yes, you have, yes. So what you saying here?
You have to finish off one
Finish off
person
that
in order
one.
to go to the next person.
Yeah. So what you saying here?
I just thought you said.
What you saying here?
Offer pending.
What?
I was saying.
How you get, oh, no. You hear what he said? You know what he said?
Offer pending.
He said offer pending.
Yeah.
Did I teach you about offer pending yesterday? Last week?
Okay.
What are you talking about?
I would say not accepted based on the rule, but he was.
What did you say?
Explain.
You said there's no what?
I would say the offer wasn't accepted based on the rule.
Okay. You
You
just
just say
said,
why.
okay,
They
and
didn't
conclude?
agree. Huh?
Conclude.
And so the car could not be
Conclude.
sold. Huh?
Did Frank get something?
No, conclude this.
So, offer was
Yes, you
null and
can.
void?
We haven't touched.
So the offer was null and void?
But why-
900.
I
We
said why
haven't
you
touched that
should
part
leave
yet,
it
so
with
how
the-
we can include it?
You can just say the
So we have to
offer
go
doesn't
back
have
down,
to be
so we gotta go back down.
because of all the points there.
What you mean?
Okay, the postal rule does not apply
Right.
because they had an oral
And so
agreement.
the offer,
So the offer cannot be
accept
accepted,
the offer.
right?
Mm-hmm.
And then do we go down to on Thursday? Since we still dealing with Eric?
What did Eric say? In the
Eric
second
said-
sentence.
$900.
Eric said he would sell he would give David $17.50 for the car. He told David to let him know by Friday.
Okay, so,
So,
go back. Thank you. Uh-huh. Until when?
Until Saturday.
Okay, so what
but
happened
on
there?
Thursday,
But he sent the letter,
But on-
before,
You missed that, Mr.
You missed that part. Listen. So what happened there?
he went to David's house.
Uh-huh.
With 900 cash.
You still missing out. He didn't receive it until Saturday. What does that
So
mean?
after, so that means
Because he
after
didn't have him on
Saturday,
Friday, he moved on to the other person.
Exactly.
no,
Yeah.
See, she ain't get that yet. You getting it?
David,
So,
yeah.
You gotta follow it. You have to follow it.
but David is the one
but
who's selling the
what about
car.
the section?
Right,
What about the section in
I'll
the
need to hear
postal
from Eric.
section where they're saying that, once
Eric, he
proven,
was
there will be an
supposed to have from Eric.
acceptance
David
of
was
the
supposed to
offer of
message
contract.
Eric.
for-
Eric
for
wasn't
the
supposed to
citizen.
get back to him by
When they
Friday.
said, when they spoke about when the,
You see it?
when the,
He
when
told
the
Dave
post,
to let
when
him
the
know by
letter is
Friday.
actually posted as opposed to when it arrives.
Not David told him to let him know by Friday.
It's a verbal agreement. They didn't agree to it.
Eric is waiting to hear from David, not David waiting to hear from Eric, you know.
Mm-hmm.
So David sent the letter to Eric, but Eric just get it after Friday, the deadline with Eric, tell him to let him know by.
But from my time, but more Friday.
See, that's where David went wrong. He changed the line of
Saturday.
communication.
That's what,
He
I know
changed
we
the line
already
of
established
communication.
that.
So was it void?
So what happened on Saturday? No, it won't be void.
Saturday, Eric went to
So what
visit
happened?
David.
He went
He
to
went to
David's
his
house.
No,
After
what is the importance of Saturday?
Saturday,
Eric
that's
said
when the
he
letter.
did not receive the letter.
So that's outside
What does that
the
mean?
period. That's outside.
That means it's
Not
outside
cancel,
the
wrong
time.
word.
Friday.
Of the timeline.
What's the
yeah.
word?
The consideration.
But he sent him a letter on Saturday when,
Let me
What's
tell you,
Saturday?
let me
He
tell
said he
you
let
what
him know
the
by
name
but
is.
Eric said he let him know by Friday.
Discharges the going.
No, wrong word.
No. It's the, oh God, I just see this one.
Then discharge, remember, will come
It's
Then
the,
you
it's
have-
the,
a breach.
That's it, is it the Stevenson, I don't know the man? The right time
We just
period.
talked about this
Just
last
rejects
week.
it? Just
No.
reject- No, reject.
Uh-uh.
that's acceptance subject to contract.
No.
No?
Communication of acceptance.
The fact that he told David to let him know on Friday.
Is that the
Mhm.
case of work?
Is this
Yeah,
awful lot?
it lapsed. The office lapsed because of the time.
So
So you said, what is
I don't see it
the?
here.
We don't have a case for that, but
I was trying to use the case of acceptance subject to contract, 'cause I. I don't
that same, what does that mean?
I don't see-
What does that mean, acceptance subject to contract, what does that mean?
But I, but John know
He
this.
didn't deliver the inside, he say,
Miss Archer, we didn't get that.
That's true.
What?
But then see,
he said Friday.
No, I had a couple of those,
He
so
said
she didn't have to
Friday,
be
he
awake.
He said Friday, he didn't need that, and so
lapsed.
Saturday, he don't
Saturday.
It's past the deadline.
So what's the
So where that
case
come
for
from,
that?
awful lapse?
That's what lapse means. You heard that word
But you
before,
try
right?
to look at the contract.
What do you mean?
I was trying to pull it over the
Which
contract.
case?
You use,
Which
oh.
case does that? Is that representative?
You wanna know that one? Because if you ask me and I don't have it on the sheet, I'll give it to you on the exam.
No, no.
That's why I go and do it.
Which one? No, subject of contract doesn't mean that. Subject of contract means that we have an agreement, subject to an actual contract being signed.
So that was.
However,
It's
it's
in the
not
offer,
offer lot.
past due then.
Yes. But you use the word past due.
Where else do you use?
A bill is past due. The correct word is lapse.
Really?
That's why he was calling different words and I keep saying the Bruce are using the wrong word.
So,
Because he said discharge.
so would that be the conclusion for
Could we use expired?
Eric versus David?
Not for, not in contract.
It's when an offer
It's
lapse.
scary.
Yes.
An
Is
offer
that
lapse
the
is when an offer
conclusion?
lapse.
Is that the conclusion?
Right.
No.
So
Right.
I'm asking, you said
No.
conclude that particular point, I'm asking.
No, the offer lapsed and something happened after that. The next sentence.
You know why I said it's scary?
Why?
Because we could be saying the same thing at offer lapse in a different way, but because we use the wrong word.
That's why I'm telling you.
We gotta use the long term then.
That's why you important.
That's why I'm telling you now. So
Yeah,
if you use the wrong
Hey,
term,
Bruce, you gotta use the right
I
term.
told you the right
Yeah,
term.
but that in here, so I have to remember to say
That's why she wrote it down, lapse.
Okay.
We got it? Not expired, no.
like a underline lapse. This could be long.
Why?
Use the term offer lapse.
These words is.
So let me ask you something. If someone calls in for, have a discussion for a loan, you have a discussion. And you offer the person, we could lend you this at a rate of 13%. But you have to let me know in the morning, by 10. And they call back by 2. What happened?
Too late.
That's
Too late.
It's lying, it's lying.
That's what I'm telling you. This
We'll
is
be
where
in
these
banking.
things come
You
from.
can't say too late.
It's no longer.
No.
You can't too late.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But it means in law, the offer has lapsed.
Okay.
If I don't write that
Offer
word,
lapse,
but I
that's
need
all.
that word, that's a problem.
No, wrong word.
Okay, this actually you put
You see?
in bracket, you know what I mean. I can't remember the word, you know what I mean.
No. But you see what I mean now? That's what I say now. When we move into banking law, you see where these things are coming from.
You gotta use the term.
Sergeant, can we say that all the
Banking
cases
off
that
the
we
printer.
need for contract law are the ones that you have listed, the 25?
But you also have that. You don't actually have to go by
It's too
this.
late.
I mean, you could use the ones that are in there.
It's come too late.
Lord help you.
What happened? But you see how you apply this now to what you do every day?
Adjust to the term.
This is how you apply it.
Do the word offer.
So,
Offer.
no, you don't sound like lawyers, it sounds
Do
like
the
you
word
know
offer the
banking law.
fault. Offer the fault, that was that.
What? Offer default. No. Next, what else? What happened after that? Eric then went to David's house and produced $900 in cash.
I mean, like $2,500 a night. Brassy though. That's being brassy.
He got it.
That's the one second.
Yeah, he's saying David's doing something. I believe that.
So what you telling me?
David could not decline. David could have worked with the decline.
This is a case of rejection.
David reject him.
Hyde versus Wrench. I don't know.
Eric then, so.
I feel like, because.
You would have used that at the very beginning.
Oh, okay.
Look at what we've gone
So
through.
we go with fish on belt.
We already went to invitation to treat.
Yeah.
We already said here, then he made an offer. Then we said here, he went using the wrong method of communication. By him doing that, it had lapsed. And so now you're saying that he gone to his house and he offered him $900. What does that mean?
He made him a new offer.
First statement up.
No.
That means.
That means,
He cannot make a new offer.
no.
There's offer, there's counter offer. That was not a counteroffer. We've already gone through all of this, so what does this mean?
In the case,
This last part here, him going to his house, giving him $900 and saying, that's the best I can do.
in the case.
But David
in the case,
refused.
I have-
What does
I
that
have
mean?
to answer. In the case, Arthur versus Bruce,
Who?
being serious.
No.
Okay.
That's not a counteroffer.
That means that service, that offer service.
I would have said
Thank you. There you go. Say it so they can hear.
It just meant that it served no purpose at that point.
Yeah, it's
So
done.
it already lapsed.
It's done. It's finished.
Okay,
It's done.
Okay.
thanks, great
All you need
answer.
because.
It's done. The offer's lapsed. It's no longer on the table. So you can't present me with anything. My offer is off the table. Finish.
So because Eric's offer is off the table, his initial offer, he can't come back with anything else.
Time has lapsed. He only could come back with something else if he's within the time frame. He's past the time frame. Okay? So David has the right to refuse.
David has the right to refuse.
Mhm.
I said all this and I was like,
We all agree now? We on one page?
Yeah.
because the time that the offer.
Go when you with me?
That's one.
You got it?
I don't even know.
You get it?
Offer's not off.
So now let's go to Frank.
Okay. Miss, I have one more question.
Mhm.
So once the time lapse, no more offer.
In this scenario, it's like life things change all the time.
So now we're going on to Frank.
Yes. Who's gonna volunteer? What happened to Frank? Yeah? The same one, you're not finished yet. Frank examined the car.
And then he accepted to buy the car.
He accepted, Frank, he agreed to buy the car.
That was a verbal.
Okay. He emailed.
He sent a letter.
He sent a letter to David. But
Mm-hmm.
then he called him and tell him he don't want the car.
How you jump all the way down there?
I reading it.
So for the first thing, we started with Frank.
Bailiff. I need the examiner. Yeah.
I didn't see.
So, Ms. Archer, in the exam, are we doing it just like this?
If you haven't mastered how to answer it without the question, yes. It'll be a full essay, going paragraph by paragraph.
You have to structure it like that and then combine it as an essay.
Yes. And you need to do that by practicing.
So we can do it like this in the midterm exam.
Yeah, you can,
We can.
but it's gonna take you long. In your mind, you have to formulate from each, after you read the question, what is the issue? What am I asking myself? And you're asking yourself based upon the structure of what is a contract. What is a contract? Listen how I'm telling you to answer it. When you get a scenario question, you're asking yourself, is there a contract? And the answer that you must know, what is a contract? So what is the contract? What are the elements of a contract?
Acceptance.
No.
Offer.
Yeah.
Acceptance. Consideration.
Right? You see?
Yeah.
That's the elements of a contract. Then you add to that all the rest of the other things. Okay?
Now, when I come here, I just need a drink.
So whenever you read a scenario, you asking yourself, first thing in your mind, was it an offer or was it an invitation to treat? So the word contract should be nowhere in your vocabulary. Then you have to say whether there was acceptance. And when you ask yourself whether it's acceptance, go to your chart. There can be a counter offer. There could be a time limit. So if you have offer and you have acceptance, the only thing you have is the word contract should not be in your mouth. This should be in your mouth. Agreement.
So I already had a contract with that offer, acceptance and consideration.
And consideration. All around the same thing.
No, you can't understand it like that.
John, I gotta get working.
Come sit up front.
That ain't gonna make no sense.
Yes, it will. So what happened?
He wrote him a letter
Mm-hmm.
to say that he agreed to buy the car for the amount, for the $2,500.
Mm-hmm. What does that mean?
So, are we looking for a contract answer?
Oh, here she go again.
Cause I mix up on the line.
How you get to the word, what I just finished telling you, when you use the word contract?
She mean case, she's trying to
The
say
cases,
case,
sorry.
case.
The cases
Cases.
of this paper,
Yeah.
Okay.
for what I just read.
Would
You
be
read
the
it
same-
first and then you ask the question.
Would it be the same rule postal case? Because they didn't agree. So Frank sent them a letter, right? And they didn't agree to that.
You
Mm-hmm.
know what, you right.
Mm-hmm.
They didn't agree to that.
Okay. So let's do the postal rule, right? Method of communication.
I agree. Oh, child, thank you, Becky.
Okay?
What is VC?
Hang on.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, yeah, VC is.
See how easy that is?
What's supposed to be VC?
Why y'all looking? Y'all ain't figure who's VC?
No.
Why?
I don't know. What is it?
Verbal
Yes.
communication.
No.
Who say you don't use the word
Verbal
contract?
consideration.
Consideration.
Verbal.
Communication?
What I just said?
I didn't hear communication. No, someone said contract.
And then.
Oh, that hear communication after that.
You said we use contract.
No, don't use contract.
So I would say the rule states that. Cause I think they nice.
Get us a rule. You put something in the post? So what was the impact of him posting the letter?
Because
The
he
agreement
posted,
into play,
How you get here?
no,
put the contract into play.
No,
no, there ain't no contract. Because
he put the offer. Be together now? Yes? What do you mean no?
Yes, we'll get there, get it right.
Well, you got it.
We all get there.
But I want you all to get there at the same time.
So, you know, some persons get there faster than others. But at the time
Don't
they
show
get
off,
there-
Rachel.
No, I'm serious. At the time when
Huh?
we need it most, we ought to be there.
Offer was made.
I ain't faster than nobody.
No, I didn't say you
I
were.
still kinda lost.
I'm only teasing.
Lost and
Hmm? When can you revoke an offer?
Before it reaches the.
before it's accepted.
Before the person accepts it.
Yes.
Okay?
So that would have happened right after. You send a letter.
Right? So what happened?
He revoked the offer.
But before David received this letter, Frank telephoned and told him he didn't want a car after all. What that mean?
So he revoked the offer.
So Frank revoked the offer.
Frank.
Revoked by the offeree?
Mm.
Oh, yeah,
Offeree.
We couldn't ask a question was the offer acceptance and then, like what if we say, ask ourselves if the offer accepted and then we just answer?
Mm-hmm, yeah.
Okay,
There are no points for the questions, you know.
okay.
The points come here.
Well,
Next.
The answers, the answers.
Ms. Archer, are you done with that question?
No.
What is a note that what?
I have,
You want to conclude?
no, I don't.
What?
I have a query with their process.
Mm-hmm.
The contract, that would be legal capacity? Or
That's
the-
this part underneath here.
Okay. When I think of offer and acceptance, okay, we come to some form of, some understanding, some agreement, right? Consideration, you said that, to have
No,
a
watch it
contract.
now. No, no,
Okay, may not be a
No.
legal term.
that's this.
Intention.
To create legal relations.
An offer, acceptance.
If you make an
Equals an
offer
agreement.
and I accept, we have an agreement.
That's our agreement.
And in order for it to say we have a contract, there is consideration.
Okay.
Now, if I want to ask myself, is this contract valid? If I want to now turn to the validity of it, all the rest of those things come into consideration, in addition to these. Without these, there is no contract. Without all the rest, there's no valid contract. All those elements come into play.
เธอบอกมาแต่ study ลงมาแล้วก็บอกแบบ
I just asked you there's a contract. Or I could ask you if there's a valid contract. If I ask you there's a valid contract, that means you have to take all of these things into consideration. Okay? You understood the question? Yes? No?
What she said? If it's a valid contract, we have to follow
She
the
go back to
elements of valid contract. All of it.
She's looking at this. She's saying, we have offer and acceptance of an agreement, considerations of contract. She wanna know whether all of these, how do they play a part? If you want to study valid, it's not just you, it's
I mean,
all
I
of
like
us.
it.
Alright, we good? So what we concluding here?
Offer
Hmm?
a vote by offer.
The what?
Offer a vote by offer.
Okay, alright. So we were marking this out of 15. And you gave me that. How much you think you would get?
15.
The last line alone, 10 points.
I agree with that.
You agree?
I mean, we gone through all of this, say the same
The
thing, I
offer
just
was
say without
revoked.
the big words.
Huh?
I basically said that in my little write-up.
Me too.
I just
Yeah,
didn't
I
use the big
agree.
words.
Which big words?
Nice.
Offer and acceptance?
No, the laughs and the, with the people named the Adams and what's the Nava case and all of that.
You have to put the cases, because the cases what gives you the
I
points.
see that now.
Yeah.
So you gotta say what,
This one is-
What's the rule
based on your case.
and what's the facts? Yeah. What do you mean you can't take no more?
Case then.
The facts of the case. That's why I say you have to practice it. We got it?
So I have a question.
Go ahead.
I know it's a lot of cases, right? So if we can find cases where I guess it would give us more points and less writing, is that like a way we can?
For example.
I don't know. How
I don't know what you mean. I don't understand what you
I think you know
mean.
what I'm talking about.
No. I lost. Explain to me what you mean.
Yeah.
Huh? What do you mean?
If I can find a case that can put all of that we just did in like 2 cases, like it's,
But that can happen if you
it can
find
happen
it.
if I find it, and then you will just have to do extra research when you mark in.
No, why?
So
You know all the cases
cases.
that
Yeah.
Give us the case for the,
you know actual versus the.
No. That's not like a criminal
I
matter.
wanted to make it.
So what do you think we'll get?
It's too much. Oh, the 15, I will give that a 9 or a 10. That? What you mean, Frank part or the whole thing?
The whole thing.
3.
That's a lot of writing.
3?
You mean for Eric and Frank, right?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, 15. Eric and
And Miss Audrey right there. That's a
She trying to ask you, you better answer properly.
15. I want 15 after
15 or the 15. Woo, A plus.
Just because Miss Asha delegate that,
I can tell you
15.
that.
15. Perfect.
She made that up.
Get rub it in.
What?
Rub it in,
Yeah, she that's what he does.
She
What?
lacerate that.
What you asked, so nice. How much points that would get?
That's
Oh,
a
we're
15.
leaving.
No. How much would you think you would get if you did it?
All
Like
right,
that?
100%.
Okay. So let's go.
What? What time
Me
is
just
it?
being right
You need to add more cases.
I was on
No.
point.
We need to add more cases for facts?
No.
So why we didn't?
You're not finished.
We didn't advise it.
No, you're not finished.
Miss Archer used a slick Rick.
When I say 10, what you giving me, I get that
You
right?
let us
I
answer
say 10
all
on the
those
first
times.
I get that right though. What you giving me?
Okay, so what we said but Frank? What did we say but Frank?
This was the offer.
I mean, instead of open office,
No.
You said no here, right?
Yeah, we said it was revoked.
Yeah, he
Yeah.
revoked it. Frank revoked.
Okay.
Frank's offer was
but
revoked.
Frank, I mean, Frank didn't work. Hold on.
Frank made the offer.
And then he revoked it. So
He
that's
called
that.
before the matter was
But
delivered.
David didn't say, he isn't offering it no more. Eh?
So let's see now she's taking opposite view.
Yeah, they ain't supposed to say that.
But
Yeah.
you know,
It is not over.
So they-
Go back to what he said. He said,
Because he didn't take it down or say nothing, right?
see what he says. He says, I agree to buy the car for $2,500 asked by you. That's an offer.
Right.
You agree?
Right.
Because you look at it from two different sides. Remember, everything in law is two-sided.
We gotta do all that.
You always get two sides.
Gotta prove it.
You can't go by what we think then.
No, it's not what you think. It's what you see. Is it what?
you reading the Bible song?
It's not a Bible.
Yeah.
Okay, what else?
What case would you use for that? On their parents, this is an acceptance. What case would you use?
On acceptance, it would be, that would be
Acceptance, specified by Yates.
Brogdon.
What Yates did.
No.
No, that ain't that one. Would it be,
Oh, no.
Legal principle?
Because I did arise with
One offer to accept off.
Oh, no.
You see Smith versus Hughes?
no.
We gotta really learn this.
Oh, no, I don't see that.
What'd you have for acceptance?
We have Brogdon versus Metropolitan Railway,
Mm-hmm.
and then we have communication of acceptance, and then we have acceptance by specified.
And it's none of them.
You have acceptance there.
Yeah, but it's Brogdon. We don't have that same, we don't have that system there. We don't have that same paper printed out.
And they have felt those.
You could use that.
Which one?
Which one we can do it?
Felt those versus the new.
Mm-hmm.
Versus really, right?
Yeah, you could use Feldhaus. That's why I say you have to read them. Because you'll use the one that you remember
Under acceptance.
on the acceptance.
Okay.
What y'all looking at?
The different ones.
It's just those two under acceptance though.
Oh, I didn't realize
Mhm.
that was on acceptance.
Anyone, whichever one you remember. You don't want to go in the exam and then starting to read all the cases on the acceptance. You see what I'm saying? Then you have to decide, well, which one suited better? You read them and you say, I like this one better. This is what I'm using for acceptance.
Where do we put this in now?
It's an acceptance.
Where do we plug this in now? What part of that?
That it was an offer.
We already established that though, right?
These cases.
You're going a different road now.
Okay, so David, this on David's behalf now.
So you go in a different road. Yep.
So on behalf of
So
David,
after was the offer revoked? What are we saying after that?
So now you've established there's an offer. You agree? So what's the next step?
before David could accept the offer.
It was
it
revoked
revoked.
though.
No,
According to
no.
these.
If we said,
What was the?
here, we said he made an offer, right?
Correct.
Then the next step was mode of communication.
Right.
And then we said it was a verbal communication and he doesn't have to follow that. What if he wants to?
On the way.
There are different ways. You have to learn to think what, okay, it was a verbal contract. He decided to send him a letter,
Yeah.
made him an offer. He can decide whether or not he wants to accept it or not.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What we did was an outright rejection because that wasn't the mode. Okay? But he could have decided he'll accept it.
Okay. So that's why you give us 10 out of 15?
because we
But
ain't gonna
before,
another way.
before the letter.
You have to look at more than one way.
Before the letter reach you.
Because I'll tell you, by the time you get to the exam, someone would have written both sides.
So, Ms. Archer, sir, like you see how Eric and Frank, Eric and David, hold on. Hold on now, there's something confused now.
So we have to do two different sides of it and our answer.
Okay,
This question, this
You
exam only
shall-
have 3 questions, eh?
for example,
This taking long.
I mean, with some words.
How much questions are there?
How much hours exam is this?
That's like
3 hours.
2.5 days, Be careful. Miss Ashley, so, you say how
It only
many
taking long because you learning how to do it now methodically. If you look at the first thing you ask yourself, was there an invitation to trade on offer? Then you ask yourself, did they accept? Then you ask if there's consideration. That's it.
I understand.
But you have to go through it methodically in order to come to the right
So
conclusion.
Let's do the next meeting.
Okay, so let's say he decides to accept it by post. What happens?
It's too late, cause the homeboy then call him and let him know he don't want it.
You talking about who?
And that was the,
No,
that was the
no.
initial method of communication. Verbal.
Okay,
Oh,
but
stop it.
David did not change the way of communication, right? Well,
What?
I mean,
That was the
who can say?
initial
'Cause
method.
We're talking about Frank. When we did this for Frank, we said that the method of communication was not established to go by post. Remember? And we said it was a verbal arrangement. And so we said we reject this postal, right? But I'm saying to you, what if he decides he will accept it?
Okay, so if you accept, but
Frank, right?
Yes, what if he accepts it now?
who would have
David.
David?
Yeah, what if he now saying it came by post? It is an offer, we agreed. So now he wants to accept the offer.
It's under consideration.
I guess
Why would he count?
Why would he count her?
It's under consideration now, right?
Exactly.
And they enter into an agreement, I don't know.
What
He would accept it and the car would have gotten sold.
already saying he.
Right?
How he sold it?
No, I said, what up? Yes.
Yes, that's what I'm saying. So you have to look, that's what I'm saying. You could look at it the very first time. You could take this and go this route by saying, guess what? They didn't agree to go by post. It was verbal. But remember, as a human being, he has that right. He can say, guess what? I'll accept this.
If I call you and I tell you,
But I just tell you I don't want
what I'll
But
tell
he
you,
already
I'll tell you,
told
you
you,
know. I'll tell you, you know.
David desperate.
That David have a problem with people.
I'm telling you, I'll tell you, you know.
Why?
Tell him he don't
He
want
doesn't
it.
want it.
it, so they know
Let them call you, my boy.
Look like a date.
David just makes them have an energy.
Because the initial method of communication was verbal.
Uh-huh.
That is void. Your letter is void, homeboy.
Right, but that means.
And so David can't won't come now except
You
the
understand?
other.
It's too late now.
They done gone wrong with the terms of communication.
What's the postal rule? Rachel.
I can tell you right now, give me one secondary.
Just hold it up.
Postal rule states that it's effective when posted.
Okay, so go again. Tell me what that paragraph is telling you.
Oh
Yes,
boy.
Rachel. What is it?
David could send back and say he wants to accept because, the agreement was already in effect.
That's right.
Oh boy.
posted that
Then he posts that letter.
Frank and trouble. Frank and trouble.
It's actually really, but he already called him and tell him he don't want
He had already posted it.
Yeah.
But that was
And
the
it takes
point.
That's what law is about.
But you
You see-
talking about a twist, that's the same thing, that's the same point I was making with the first scenario with David Merrick and Post. That's not,
Because you could twist it.
You can twist it either way.
You could
That's
twist
why
it
you don't
another way.
need to
Why we
twist
ain't
it.
twisting
He
it?
could write back and say he accepted them.
You can't if you
Right,
want
I'll
to, I'm
write
just
back
showing
and
you
tell
you
him
can't.
I
So
said
what we did on the first one? David and Aaron.
But with
Because
David,
that's how,
That
that's
first
how
one,
I
he
would.
didn't want that period. It's the same
Right,
thing.
his office too.
It's over here. He finished with that. He said no contract. But here it is, he said, what did he say? It's where it says, I agree to buy the car for $2,500 asked by you.
Yeah.
But before David received the letter, he telephoned and said he didn't want it, but he already posted it.
So if he didn't post it, then I would mean that.
Oh, here she goes again.
I mean, I just said you
Rule.
wanna sing, look on two different
Trace
sides, I
would
just
say
said.
no.
No, you
That's what
can't
you
say he
said.
didn't post it because that's not the scenario.
Yes, he
The
posted it.
scenario would be whether or not that was the agreed mode of communication.
So what if, okay, so what if David didn't, so that you be like, tell 3 months later?
Say what?
What if David didn't receive the email until 3 months?
It doesn't matter.
It was.
Email,
That
it's the
doesn't
same when posted.
Oh,
That's the
Matter
rule.
when you get it.
Right.
Doesn't matter when you get it.
Posted it.
It's when posted.
That's why I was looking, that's why.
In all reality, let's say this. Even though David may, I'm right back. David, even though David may write back and say, well, I accept your offer, whatever. Frank still don't have to buy the car, right? Because there's no binding agreement or no.
David
Right?
can do it.
The binding agreement said that he posted. Yes.
Once he posts that.
What he posted?
So he has
That's
to
a
buy
good
the car.
Actually,
You don't
You don't have to
you
buy
don't
the
have
car,
to
right?
buy the car. John really,
Then that's,
Oh.
that's the point.
That's the whole
That's
point.
right.
Force, you gonna push it? Give me a contract?
but he don't have to do that.
Ms. Archer,
Why?
what you saying in this case here?
That's a
You saying
contract.
Frank have to buy the car?
Uh-huh.
Frank thinks
Your
he's-
words
I
are,
think he's
I
smart.
agree
Suppose you
to
have to
buy
buy
the
it,
car
you know,
for
to buy it.
$2,500. You posted it.
Letter, yeah.
When he posted it, the contract was done.
Pretty fast.
All he has to come and exchange, I'm waiting on my money.
Yeah, cause there was an offer.
And you accepted.
And so
There
if
was an
Frank
acceptance.
There was an
decides-
invitation to treat, made an offer, accepted it. It's done.
So he could actually
Okay,
argue that in
so
court.
if.
Yes.
Frank deci- Okay, that's what I was
So you
gonna
saying the
ask.
letter would act as the consideration then?
Yes, when he posted it.
And when judge and he write you
Fine,
remind
all
us
you
say
have
you
to
gotta
do
buy
is
a
exchange
smart
money.
car.
So this
I
is
said,
finding
so,
agreement
I
then.
lost the money, that's why I can't buy the car.
That's why when I read this post thing, I'm like, oh, I can't believe
I was
it.
robbed.
I mean,
That's
That's
how
the way to
how
buy
easily
the
you
car.
enter into a contract.
Oh, you gotta be careful.
girl,
with
you
these
gotta be
things.
careful with the type, you gotta type on what.
You see what I mean? If he had said, like how we did at the beginning, say, well, that was not the mode of
You
communication.
see it what?
You blew
But
it,
on
me.
the opposite side, he could take it to his advantage. And he could say, guess what? I'm gonna accept this mode of communication.
Yeah.
And by accepting it, he put him into a contract.
He using.
If we did it the first way we did it here, when we said that wasn't the mode, so I'm not accepting it.
But it don't sound like.
But if you go by the rule, if he decides to accept it, that's it.
But then how is mode of communication still valid when we can have loopholes, so we can say that there are different ways to look at this?
So why would,
That's what laws all about.
oh no, but the mode of communication with Eric and David, he tell them verbally, but then he
Right.
give him a letter. Why is it different from
Just
Frank
think
and,
about it.
and this whatever, and whoever
The
is
first
not-
one? Tell again why it's from the first one.
Well, cause David.
Because that amount of money.
That amount of money,
Frank come
yes.
with, he wasn't into
He
that.
was
They
into
didn't
that.
say that amount of money.
What you mean? Yes, they did.
But that was his best offer.
But it wasn't what I was, but it was not what I had on my invitation to treat.
That wasn't the first offer. His first offer was $1,750. He was okay with that.
Right.
Then he come with $900.
You were freaking out.
Yeah, he wasn't taking that. That was not happening.
Eric, come on, can I- That's what they trying to say.
You better get
So we good?
I already know what I'm doing.
For accepting that, all of that. See, I if he contract of 1750, on number one, they take it as a whole. But that wouldn't have.
No, we can't, but hold on, the postal rules say, as soon as he posts it,
Yeah, but he don't want to leave at 9.
Mm-hmm.
You give us a chance.
Yeah, the
Huh?
who wanted to buy the car, to take it to court.
Oh, because the other posted that.
Right. Buyer come and say,
Second one that I did.
yeah, we are agreement with second 1750 with a second one.
Oh, okay.
$900.
So Miss Asha,
Yes.
so because
Say what? No, y'all understand the first one. Don't try it. I listening to you.
Please listen.
What's your name again?
Please.
So, Ms. Arthur.
Yes.
In order for us to get 15 out of 15, you want us to look at it both sides
Yeah.
and elaborate.
Because when you looked at it, he could have either accepted it
That's
or
only
he
if
didn't
it-
have to.
Only if it could have gone both sides.
Yes, yes.
So with the first one, we gonna get 15 or 15 for that. Because we're saying, ain't no other way to look at it because David.
But all that was
meant
one
at
question.
900.
You mean if the first
Not
part was
even
just
like-
by itself?
Yeah.
Yeah, you would have.
Wow, there's a lot for one question.
So, Miss Arthur,
Mm-hmm.
we have to break all this down, right? So,
You have
break
the-
this into one part, means into one thing with this.
What's one thing?
Like how we do Eric case first and then do, Frank case.
Uh-huh.
So we have to combine them.
Yeah.
What is it?
Anything else?
I think I missed the part when you said when the term would be. You said 7 o'clock.
What next week?
No, I was saying second class, you would tell us, but I didn't come.
Oh, you weren't there on the 19th.
Thank you, lovely.
February.
I want
How can Sam get on in February?
the 19th of
February.
February.
2 weeks from now. Even man, you're joining the class next week.
That means y'all will think y'all be celebration in Valentine's, y'all be in your books.
Valentine.
Valentine's, in your books.
So, Miss Arthur, you can
Yes.
combine all this possibly.
How?
So excuse me, beautiful lady.
Give us
I
an
have a
idea.
question.
All right.
I just gave you an idea.
So, just like.
You have to write it out.
So we just basically just follow your questions.
But do
and
question
write it
2
in.
now and wite it out.
Okay. When our paper is due,
The second question that's on the paper.
Want to know I answer?
Yes.
Actually,
I do not think you shall look
sing that night now. I serious man. I think we should do that.
Huh?
Beginning of
What happened?
Besides, I think we should go do it together, man. Serious.
So we really can get the hook right.
Yeah.
That's Miss Arthur, we still a little lost.
Why you lost? Tell me why you lost. You said it's homework? You already did it? Then type it out and email it to me.
So why would type it out?
Scan it to me.
Oh man, no man. I don't want you to tell these people what I write, you know.
Yeah, read mine. Read mine and see if it's right. Don't read it out loud.
Sasha, don't read it loud.
Number 2.
Miss Arthur. Hold on.
That's too much information.
What did I say, man?
That's a tough one.
That's a question.
I don't look at that question. That's your homework.
Miss Arthur,
No, the question, that's the whole thing.
Which kind of
I want you to be on this page. I want you to write this out.
Yeah, no, I was talking about the midterm question.
I wasn't talking about that.
No, he was talking about, I already did this.
I want to
Oh, that's what you meant.
Yeah, so,
This question is for 20 points, you know?
you say you don't want no big long broken answer.
And you think it's 20 points?
Now you say it. What did she say the first class? Don't write her no 3 pages and all of that.
No, she said on the.
She said three.
So,
She said don't write on the.
Ms. Angela, what do you want me to do? Cause this class
That's one
had me
question though.
jumble in the brain.
Exactly. This is not enough.
No,
You see this word? What does this word mean?
listen to me. When I heard you say, you don't want a bunch of papers coming to you, I didn't wanna overdo myself.
You're not overdoing it now.
Making the point.
You're making the point. Okay. Okay, so when I read this paper, this paper. So that's it, right? Okay, so let me read it.
Concentrate. You get it. You prefer concentrate. Who is it? What the classes you come in one class that you come from? That was a coaching. That was a coaching. That was this class.
Okay, so
Classes.
this is like to the
That
end.
was a coaching.
What does this mean?
Class stuff. No, it couldn't have been this.
I did used to for 7 class 9 on
So you know what you forget.
Why it changed?
That class was not.
See?
That was
You
no,
get
you
what we
need
end.
to capture the result.
This and why.
Can I leave this video?
Like,
You can
can
stay
I-
here.
I
You
was
can
like-
do this in one short flow.
Right in the way.
No, but I didn't know she know how to do it, cause I just.
No, no, it's-
There's no reason. So much. That's all I'm
Right. And you only get a chance.
Go to the social.
Yeah,
Sometimes.
this is the impact of that. Yeah.
And I just had it right here. So I do it. And she did it. I watched her. And every time, you see how we do it like that? Every time I call her, she's like, okay,
Oh, she is.
Very cheap.
I say,
Impressive.
wow, this
Yes,
is.
to go like this. So this is
That's
fine.
impressive.
What is that?
She's very smart. Which program is it?
www.
What? I really
No, this is the agent.
And I have my 7 or 8.
What else? Well, let's look
See,
in.
one of them.
Next question. Everybody on the same page now, because she was on a different page.
This the site.
No, you get now page and then you never tell me page.
Everybody okay with this research question, right?
could you give us questions, please?
You don't have it. No, number 2 you will do it at home. You got it? Okay. Oh, you took a photo.
But like glad I already write this out because I got a heads up that know that this was a 10%.
Need a 10 out of 15.
Said I didn't know.
But you didn't answer it.
Fresh just back up.
But you see why, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, she accepts.
It's only good hard marker.
No, but she agrees.
So she knows she ain't doing that.
She understands it
No,
now.
I just was trying not to write too much because my understanding was to not run overboard. So now I try to run overboard and put the many slaves. Hello.
You'll be all night.
Now what is this again? I saw glass.
Moving on.
I don't know. Glass.
Hey, what?
I told you.
Like my son would say, I ain't watching nothing. Don't worry about it.
I can put your name there, you know.
What we talking about, Miss Asha? There's something wrong.
That's another story.
You give it a say.
To do.
Man.
Yes. In class, you know.
We ain't have to like that,
Give
right?
us this voice, then give us a headache with this thing.
Miss Asha, let's go risk it.
We ain't gonna bother him.
That's
I
homework.
think this class can be over.
We ain't finished the David one.
We
though.
ain't even ice
We didn't do the second part of David. We did not do
There was a
the second
contract.
part of David. There was a contract. Whatever.
That's it.
The
Alright.
first part is that it was revoked. The second part is that if he did accept the letter, then
It was
It was
I would have had to pay him the money.
because it's a contract.
And the judge would rule that. Jesus,
On the flip side,
Jesus, what is this, Lord?
scenario.
What happened?
Oh, glory.
Somebody said they didn't get the first part.
I don't see why you don't have the first part.
This rough on me, this rough on me.
You have office hours, Ms. Archer?
No, why?
Drop an email.
We can continue.
You get FaceTime?
No. You seen it right now.
You ain't get no eyes. Photographic models. Photographic models.
Yeah. Yeah, model.
Even so his daughter? Are you just telling me something about that last
Oh, then relax, man.
Miss Archer, I was just speaking on this last week.
To give his daughter.
And he said he can't show you. I
I
thought
thought
she
she said to sue, that's like to give his daughter.
Oh,
Yes, it's a contract.
No, we can't say yes or no automatically.
Let him say yes.
I didn't even read it.
So if you make a promise, was it office promise, written or verbal or?
He just made the following promises.
It was an invitation to treat.
So you said if you know yes or no, right, we just saying what.
You have to go through it.
Is there a contract?
so what's the promise at?
The what?
That's the offer of the tree.
Promise at.
Then,
I have to.
Miss Archer, 1 minute. You can tell me what you must tell me what
Oh, I got it right, do you do?
It's an act, right?
Hold on.
so the first part thing of it was an invitation.
I mean, yeah, because he's the.
And then you're gonna answer that question.
Right?
And then you gotta write a case. Nope. I have no case. Yeah, I have a case to go with it.
But y'all coming up there. He said he'll give his daughter $500. I could put more zeros on that, you know, if that'll make you feel more comfortable.
Yikes.
Right.
You started.
To give his daughter $500 if she will abandon her career as a model and become a social worker.
You started the question.
It's their contract.
Miss Archer. Miss Archer.
Yes, that's where you start from.
What should I smell?
There hasn't been an acceptance.
I was gonna dictate it, but I know how y'all go.
Promise of an hour.
So? Go through it.
You say that's all of them. No, I don't know.
Right, and then when you say offer, you have to whether there was an invitation.
It's a plan, man.
And then there was.
That's for 50,000.
Offer and acceptance of an agreement.
50K.
What's the daughter name?
This thing is
Okay, what is it? What is it?
That's an offer.
It's an offer?
Yes,
Okay,
it is.
so Colin made an offer.
So you're supposed to ask the question first, right?
Uh-huh.
Okay.
So it was an offer.
What happened, Rachel?
But
Sorry, no,
I
that's
just,
what
I
that-
suppose
yeah.
that,
What?
That's an offer.
It's
An
an offer.
offer is a proposal or promise by one party to enter into a contract on terms with the intention to be bound as soon as the
She said, why isn't it an invitation to treat? She's on page
Because
26.
an invitation to treat is more like an adverse.
Something
It's
to
the rare cases you know. An invitation to
That's more
treat is
like
when
an
there's
advertisement.
an object on display
Yeah.
with a price on it.
I can't be bought. That's
Like
Like when you see people have cars on the side of the
things for
road.
sale is a invitation to
Yes,
treat.
it is.
Like if you see a car on the side of the road and say $5,000, that's an invitation to treat.
But if I say-
Because I
if
see
I say-
$500.
If I say, let
Oh,
me give you
okay.
$500, you put the job.
So we really.
I give you offer where you quit the job or you don't.
Yes.
On this one, yeah?
Okay,
On this one.
Enjoy the three cases.
so it's an offer. Now what's the offer? And so,
$50,000.
we have an offer. What's gonna make this a contract?
If
she
she
accepts.
accepts. If she
No,
accepts.
if she accepts and considers the contract.
Yeah, if she
If she
decides to
accepts.
consider it, I take that to
Shut down,
consideration.
if she
accepts
If
and
she
If she
accepts,
considers
When
it,
she accepts that, she comes
if
to
she
contract.
accepts,
Let me go back to my friend in this corner. What's the promise?
action,
Action. What makes this a contract? What will make it a contract?
if she accepts. If she, let's say she, what?
if she leaves her job.
Thank you.
Yeah.
If she leaves her job and becomes a,
Social worker.
then we have a contract.
No,
No.
so you try
To break it
Okay,
down.
so you're saying that if she doesn't, so you're saying that if
She has to make an
if she actually
action.
says to him, if she
Action
says to him that
is
she's gonna do it but doesn't
That's
do it, she
not,
can't
that's not
expect
a
the money.
contract, no.
Her action equivalent to like a consideration.
Yes.
Yeah, because the
That's like
consideration.
if you use the word
Money.
action, you're not linking it.
No, I don't
Oh,
get that.
okay.
Because this is not an exchange of money.
The acceptance.
I get that.
She has to
Acceptance that she leaves the
job.
job.
Right.
So is that the term?
So that would
The
be the
term of
complete
the con,
contract.
the current term of the offer? By the terms?
Terms are normally written, but more or less, but this is a promise. A promise is an action. So once she does the action,
Yeah.
Oh, you
I
That's
guess
when we have a
it's a
contract.
contract.
you know, you use it.
So if she don't, then it's no contract.
Yes.
Miss
But what if
Asha,
she say
Yes,
what if she say she accepted, but she won't change leave her job? So
Then
she
she
won't
doesn't
accept
have
it.
to
But what if she lied?
But if she
Okay,
thinks
what
she
happened?
even that's
That's
action.
I get
What
it.
if she
You get
say
it?
she
Okay.
didn't know what was still doing?
So Ms. Asha, would we have to, could
So
we
that
put a
means-
case to this?
Do we have to put a case?
No.
Okay, so that means she could, okay, I think I get
So,
it. She could.
with promise, I think
There may be one in your bundle, there may not be one in the bundle where there's a promise. You want one that's a promise?
So in the
No.
That's why
promise,
you
you
have
don't
to
have to
read
use a
them.
case?
no,
There are cases
no,
in
we
there.
don't want no more cases.
Oh,
You
God.
have to read the cases.
No more.
I can try to do three.
Now, let's just say Colin say he wants to go to court, he wanna argue. He said this is not a contract. Colin says this is not a contract.
Why call it this?
She didn't even do it, right?
No, she's done all of
She
that.
didn't even say.
She's done all of that.
Okay.
So
He
he,
said, I'm not paying that, this is not a contract.
Why is it a
even though she did
contract?
that.
What if he said
Yes.
But
Then
anyway,
it's,
you want to leave a job?
Oh, no,
Correct,
then
right?
it's, then she
Even cost of.
she should have let him.
Did she become a social worker?
Then the judge
Is
will
it-
call it,
then
then the
come to
term,
question if it's a valid contract?
then it's a family matter.
Thank you.
I forgot the word.
Oh,
but
yeah,
it's
yeah, you can't sue
Familiar relations.
Domestic.
Domestic relations.
Come again, Rosie. Let me
Domestic relations is not a binding contract. You can go to court and say it's not a binding, this is family.
What promise you all? That's foolishness.
Before we start this,
You made me go.
No,
That's why I
you're
said- that's
saying
why I
because
did
the
the
word
family
promise
issue.
is in there, right?
No.
Not that we can't.
No,
but
that's
that
not relationship.
that's what I'm saying,
Relationship.
before we going through all this,
If
just
you
to
didn't
say
make
that.
you can't
Some
sue
catch
family.
up.
But
No,
Rihanna, so
that is
that
a grounds upon which you can argue
So that's the
that
thing.
there is in a contract.
That's the
But there is a contract.
It's actually so.
Using
What
the
is
you
it?
get an extra point.
Yes.
Knowledge.
I need clarification on that.
So if this was in this order,
Details of it.
Yeah.
But that's how big family tree is not in the
Yes, but I'm saying this is the grounds upon which he can now determine that there isn't one. I didn't intend there to be a contract.
but he already causing
Yeah.
but he already causing
Doesn't matter.
I mean,
Doesn't matter.
Daddy wouldn't have to worry, I would talk to
She
him.
got the offer that inheritance.
I didn't argue him.
But then that's not it.
You see if you have in your bundle a case called Jones versus, Padavaki.
he ain't gotta give me my money.
Daddy wouldn't have to worry with these people.
He ain't gotta give me my
Then
money.
he get all license change in
I wanna take it from him.
John, do we have that on the hand?
See if you have that in your handout.
I don't think so, I don't remember seeing that. We don't have that one.
So in that case, a mother's promise to her daughter to pay her a monthly allowance if she moved from the United States to England and read for the bar was held to be unenforceable. Heard it? A mother's promise to her daughter to pay her a monthly allowance if she moved from the United States, go to London, read law, which means study law, was held to be unenforceable.
What was that last word?
Unenforceable. She couldn't enforce the contract.
Because it was family.
Because it was her daughter.
Because it was family, right? That's why?
They said that in this case, it was too vague. I will give you a monthly allowance. There's no
So you
stipulated
didn't say
amount.
how much?
$20.
You didn't say study where, right?
No, it didn't say study which school,
Yeah.
and didn't say how much. The consideration is the amount. See, that is certain.
Yeah.
So even though he would have argued that it was familial, it depends on how the conversation went, the court may go in her favor. Because his promise is specific.
And he have 500.
You see how clear it is? I can give you this, if you leave that
And go to
and do
that.
that. Versus in this one, they said, I will give you a monthly allowance if you move from the United States to England and read for the bar.
She ain't stayed how much?
And she is
And she
in
went
with
to school.
school.
Yeah. That makes sense.
You see the difference?
So, in this question that you have on the board, we have to look at it both ways then?
No, this one is, you could use that case. You could say in this case, it was held that the promise was not specific, but in this case, it is. Even though he can argue that it was a domestic relationship,
She still has a point.
she still has a point. Because his instructions are specific. What happened, Bruce?
So we would say that it is a contract?
Yeah, it's a
How
contract.
the term to look
It is a
before I
contract.
use-
But he could fight it and she could fight it.
But it's a domestic.
He can argue that, what I'm saying is, the judge can say, the promise is specific, it's not vague. Why?
In which the case of, whatever that case is.
I have it on the board.
Oh,
What happened?
Let's say write it on the board.
We're making it more difficult than what it is.
Maybe under the influence if I come in there.
So I'm gonna give you some of these promises in the midterm.
I think
Give us
just like this
See
one
how
right here,
simple they
where
are?
they too
What do you
much.
call the?
Just do the whole picture and
Yeah,
the
like
process.
that.
But you ain't even okay
No,
though.
you have one of them and you have one of those ones.
You
where-
call it family
Not
matter.
that
Family
fair.
just-
Not
just
fair.
family domestic relations.
What's the P word? The P word is. What versus?
Padavaton. Padavaton.
Oh,
1969.
What it is?
Badminton.
What job is those we start doing by hand on pieces?
PADA.
Because you, let me tell you what
The
you're
first
doing.
time I was in Mexico.
You put the block to it. Alright? So I want you to practice the second one, following what you just learned from this one. Okay?
Go with Forest Jesus.
And write it?
You mean Ale?
Yeah, write it in an essay form.
Would you have another copy?
The second part.
I didn't get a copy of that.
So you don't want us to write no question?
Wait, can't take it.
No, that's your rough.
We can scrap the questions, but write the hand and the essay form for them. So this next one, please. Island mining factors.
Okay?
Kudos.
Alright? See you next week. On! We begin chapter 3. The fourth.
So, question two. So far.
Yeah, that's your question. You can do this.
And when is the midterm topic?
Midterm,
When it is?
Listen, all day.
that's for the midterm exam. That's one of the questions.
Oh, okay,
Yeah.
okay, okay.
That's a 20-point question.
Which one is 20%?
The research, 20 or 15, whatever it is. Yeah. Go ahead.
Only 5.
Yeah.
Very proud.
Oh, okay.
It doesn't count, so just.
I need a pen. All these are mine. I have to steal these back. I just keep it.
It's not in.
Oh, okay. With your pen. Put the thing on this. Franken Law, Spring, all of that. We good?
Son, do you get it? I mean,
Nice.
I mean, what?
What you mean, Rachel? There's no need to be like that.